Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many new Canadians find that they face barriers in finding employment, and so they opt to open their own businesses. But when they do, they often face challenges of language and culture in trying to navigate our systems. Business Link received funding in the past, but the previous government chose not to renew it. They received funding to develop and operate pilot programs to support immigrant entrepreneurs. One of these focused on creating multilingual guidebooks that offered plain language information on starting a business, marketing, financing, and business planning. To the Minister of Economic Development and Trade, has your ministry given any thought to working with Business Link to update and make these documents available again?
The Honourable Minister of Economic Development and Trade.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Alberta small businesses have a bigger impact per capita than any business anywhere in Canada. In addition to providing hundreds of thousands of jobs to Albertans, they inject about $100 billion into our hometowns and our communities. Now, Mr. Speaker, we are collaborating with Business Link to provide in-person access to business advisors along with phone, email, webinar materials. But I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, we're always looking at ways to support our business community even more, and we want to ensure that new Canadians also have those supports.
For a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, given that studies show that entrepreneurs that receive mentorship from those with more experience have greater success in attracting investment and expanding their businesses, increasing revenue and their employment impact, and given that Business Link also pioneered a successful pilot program which provided culturally sensitive mentorship for new Canadian entrepreneurs, to the same minister, has your ministry considered investing in providing those kinds of supports?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And what I can tell the member, and I appreciate and thank him for his question, is that we doubled funding for a very popular tech development program through Alberta Innovates. There's a number of supports that we've rolled out to support businesses, including partnering with BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada, so that entrepreneurs can launch more startups and innovate and expand. Now, I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, the previous government ended the funding specific to Business Link program that the member is talking about. Our government brought back the self-employment training for entrepreneurs that the previous government cut and that the current opposition would cut. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, I commit to working with new Canadians as entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Second supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Minister. I do appreciate the work that you've done, but given that after I met with representatives from Business Link and brought them to meet with your Chief of Staff, they submitted a proposal to your office to revive both of these programs that I mentioned at a cost of only $150,000 per year. So to the Minister, are you willing to consider providing just this small investment to help new Canadian entrepreneurs truly thrive?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll thank the member for his advocacy on this. And I can tell you that we know that the dollar amount may be fairly small, but it has a significant impact on businesses and helps them grow and become more successful. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, and to all members of the House, the proposal that the member is referring to I find very interesting and very promising. I will be looking at it and going through it to see if there is an opportunity for our government to continue to support entrepreneurs, especially new Canadians who we know are very, very innovative and want to get their businesses up off the ground.